What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be jumping into stage 5 of the Pure Saiyan Edition Red Zone here against KALE and KAULIFLA. So this is going to be quite a fun fight, if I do say so myself. I did actually attempt this one yesterday with a different team build, slightly different than what we're seeing here. There are no missions for clearing this stage, just whatever teams we want will take care of it. So this is kind of the idea that I have run with. Let's go ahead and jump in. We can talk about like the boss stats and stuff as we go, but yeah, we'll just jump in and get started here. So the idea here is to have the Tech KAULIFLAs in slot 1 on either side of the rotation, and then have our Glorios be our floaters alongside the AGL UI Goku. So basically we would have guaranteed dodge for the entire way up front, and then in slot 3, like I said, we'll have the, you know, not quite as good dodgers, but still perfectly capable dodgers of Glorio and UI Goku there. So yeah, I'm thinking this could work. I actually know for a fact that this can work because I already cleared this stage on JP this way. So I figured this would be better. So yeah, I did mention that yesterday I did attempt this same stage. I was using a full Universe 6 build. So the team was Hit as leader, and then Physical Super Saiyan 2 KAULIFLA. And then we had both of the Tech KAULIFLAs that we have on here now. We also had Int KAULIFLA. Is that everyone? Hit KAULIFLA, Int KAULIFLA, 2 KAULIFLAs. Who is the other unit? I actually can't remember who the other unit was that we were using. Oh, obviously, Tech KALE and KAULIFLA. Yeah, so that was a pretty good team build. That one worked out somewhat decently, but there was just some minor holes in it. We did get pretty close. I actually had, like, I was 45 minutes into a recording. We were on the last phase of the fight. We had almost won, and then we lost. And so I cut the camera, and I was like, okay, let's, you know, let me just go ahead and farm the rest of this off camera again, because there is a few stages to this fight. And then I was like, when we get back to the end, when, you know, we were on that final phase, I'll rejoin with you guys. And then I proceeded to get KO'd pretty hard 5 times in a row, and I didn't have any more attempts left for the day. So I just scrapped the footage because I was like, okay, let me experiment with a different team, something that's going to maybe be a little bit more consistent. And then I just started, you know, getting creative because of the whole idea that there were no team building restrictions at all. We could essentially do whatever we want. I figure it made the most sense to just hide from these strong attacks, because I guess now is the perfect time to segue into the boss stats here, so we can go ahead and talk about these as we continue. So yeah, this is tough because on the second phase, you can see here, all the super attack is 100% chance to launch in slot 0. So we know that we're going to have to deal with a super attack at the very front every single time. So that's going to be, you know, quite annoying to deal with, the slot 1 super. And then directly after that, on the final phase, we have scripted super attacks from both KALE and KAULIFLA. The KAULIFLA here is doing 4 attacks per turn, and the super is going to be the last attack on turn 1 and turn 3. And then, so then 4 and 6, and then 7 and 9, right? They're going to keep doing attacks that way, because these actions will keep looping the longer they're alive. And then KALE has a similar deal, except for super attacks on 9 and 10, and then on 14 and 15, doing 5 attacks per turn. So basically what this means is you're going to be seeing on the final phase, all the super attacks are going to be launching towards the end of the turn. You're going to see them all in slot 2 and slot 3 mostly. So between all of that, you know that you're going to have to be able to protect yourself against supers in every single slot on the team, right? Now, what I was doing with the other team build is I was starting out the fight with the Tech KAULIFLAs as slot 1s to be able to protect me through the first 2 phases, and then once we got to the final phase, I would start floating them and then use them to protect me in slot 2, 3 instead. Even so, that was just really tough because there are some guaranteed crits in here. This second stage has guaranteed crits. This final phase has guaranteed crits with the KALE specifically. So, you know, even just tanking normals in slot 1 is pretty tough against them. As you can see, they do have some pretty high attack stats that they get to once we get to the later portions of the fight. So, I mean, honestly, they're kind of high all throughout. Like, this is already kind of a lot. I think the only reason that it goes down here for the second phase is, one, because they are sealing you on super attacks, so that's already a bigger hindrance than just the damage they're doing. They have the guaranteed crits, which is another thing to consider, and they're also taking damage from you at the beginning of the turn every single turn, right? So between all of those things, it makes sense that there's a little bit lower of an attack output right there. Otherwise, that phase would probably just be ridiculous to try and deal with, right? But yeah, obviously, we don't have to worry about the negative effects from super attacks anywhere throughout the fight, which I guess that is the only place that we're going to see that here is on that second phase, because we're going to be dodging it the entire time, right? So we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, that other team was just showing a little bit of weakness. So I figured with adding the Glorios in, so that they can be our de facto, you know, slot 3s, and then we'll always be safe slot 3, slot 1. And then now, obviously, we just have these GT Heroes characters in here to fill it out, to actually be able to be the ones doing some damage for us. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this ends up looking. I've got high hopes for it, though. I think we're going to be doing all right. The other thing that could have been a problem, potentially, is if we had the LR Super Saiyan 4s on turn 1. Because with the way our team build is set up, it's almost guaranteed that we would have also had a KAULIFLA, or, you know, like a Glorio on rotation to not, you know, for instance, right here, if this was turn 1, we would not have a choice to be able to rotate them off so that they come back on turn 4 so that we can transform them, right? We wouldn't have that luxury because we have to rotate off Glorio. That's definitely like the higher priority, right? Just because he needs to be in slot 3 to get that support, and we never want to have 2 Glorios on rotation at the same time, because then we can't rotate them both. So, yeah, that being said, I think I am still going to wait to transform him again. If I really wanted to play this as safe as possible, what I could do is Scouterfish here. In fact, I think I probably will do that. Let's go ahead and get rid of the boss stats real quick. Okay. Yeah, let me go ahead and let's Scouterfish this real quick. Okay. So, basically what I'm thinking of is, now that his damage reduction is worn off, it makes sense to transform the LR Super Saiyan 4s. Okay, but now we should have a Scouter up. We see that there are no super attacks here. So we know for sure we're going to be safe. Basically, what I was thinking is, if there was a super in slot 1, where if we were to keep him in his untransformed state and then do these attacks in slot 1, he gets attacked with a super right here, we die. So then we would know to put him in slot 2, keep him untransformed, that way UI Goku can dodge the super, and then he can do the remainder of the super attacks here to get some additional stacks, move on to the next rotation, and we're fine. So yeah, let's go ahead and reset real quick, and then we will implement that. Okie dokie. So yeah, we can definitely take advantage of the fact that there are no super attacks here, and then be able to give ourselves 1 extra turn of stacking. I suppose we could try and let that go as long as possible, but I think it's doubtful that we'll make it through like a singular another turn without having to transform him, right? Because the phase we're about to go into is going to be guaranteed crits, and we, yeah, we're likely going to have to transform right there. But also, I did want to delay this because against those guaranteed crits, it's going to be really, really nice for them to have that 77% damage reduction. So, you know, obviously I didn't want to waste that on this turn, because they do get that really, really strong defensive rotation available to them. So, yeah, hopefully we can make some nice work of that on the following rotation. We'll see, we'll see. Also, it would have been the most ideal if he KO'd right there. Just so that we would have had less chance to, like, potentially take damage here. But we do know it's all normals, so I'm pretty sure we're going to be safe either way. I think even UI Goku would... It's only a 1.2 million attack stat for normals. Yeah, I think even UI Goku, he would probably take damage, but he wouldn't get KO'd from if he does get hit by either of the attacks here. But I think with Glorio there at the last slot, we should be fine. He's gonna hopefully do enough damage to take care of business here. I think so, though. It's likely. It's likely. Probably the problematic rotations that we'll have coming up would be if AGL UI Goku is our slot 3. So that means we're going to have a Tech KAULIFLA, which is not going to do any damage at all. One of our GT Heroes units, which will be providing damage, and then UI Goku would be giving basically no additional damage. Whereas, like, at least the Glorios can provide a little bit. Oh man, they even survived that. Okay. This really doesn't make a difference too much, I don't think. Yeah, this kind of doesn't change anything. We don't really have, like, you know, obviously it's nice to delay when you have stacking units. For instance, if AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was a stacking unit, this would be nice because it'd be one extra turn that he gets to launch some super attacks and stack before moving on to like a later phase that causes more damage. But we don't really have that kind of team build, so it doesn't really matter. You know, and nobody really has much that wears off out of their kit either. So we're not like in a hurry that way. It really doesn't matter whether we move fast or slow. I guess it's just the slower we move, the more turns that we have to face off against enemy attacks. But obviously in a situation like that last turn, we were 100% guaranteed to not take any damage at all, so it doesn't matter, right? Okay, so now looking at the stats again here, we are only dealing with an 800k normal, but it is guaranteed crits, which means it eats through all your defense. So we kind of do have to transform here. And again, we know that the super is going to be slot 0, so we don't have to worry about the super attack damage. But even with just this, I think if we don't transform, we would definitely have to use a Whis here. But I don't think I want to. I think I would rather just transform with them now. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we can view the slot 1 super. So obviously a strategy could be to put them there, because he is going to, you know, he is going to have the chance to counter that super, which would give us a lot of potential extra damage we could do. But I don't think I like that idea, just because there are those extra critical hitting attacks there. And like with the tech Cauliflas being off leader skill and stuff, we don't really have that much HP to work with. So we got to be really, really careful about not taking any extra damage where we can, or things could get pretty bad for us, right? I guess that also speaks volumes. That is something else to note about tech or AGL UI Goku's performance in this stage, right? If he gets hit, he's probably really going to be in trouble, because sometimes on those like major top tier teams and stuff, he can hold his own. He can, you know, I mean, obviously most of the time he's just going to dodge anyway. But what I mean by that is there could be situations. Oh, I'm so silly. I forgot to not have them in slot 1. I just said, wow, we got really lucky that his damage reduction was enough for him to double digit tank those, because that could have been really bad if he did take damage there. Complete misplay. I definitely meant to have Tech Caulifla there, but that's okay. It worked out. It worked out. No harm, no foul. But yeah, AGL UI Goku, normally, like, well, I wouldn't even say normally. Sometimes he can tank a normal, but on this team build, there's no way, right? Because even if he tanks one, usually it's going to be like 500k, 600k, and then out of your, like, you know, 800k that you have or whatever, and you'll have a little bit left. But obviously, we're dealing with, like, half of that on this team. So, you know, only having a 200% lead as opposed to a 220 lead is hurting a little bit, on top of, again, the fact that 2 of the units on our team are not even real units. They're not even on the leader skill, so they're providing nothing toward our HP, which is pretty bad. Okay, well, so far so good. If we can possibly line it up to where we don't use the Dokkan attack on this phase, but we're able to save it for the next phase, that would be the most ideal case scenario, I would say. I don't know the likelihood of us being able to do that, though, just because we don't have very many units that are actually providing damage. So yeah, could be a little problematic. We do have Glorio. Okay, so I'm just going to do my best to not select same type orbs. That way we can slow the progress of that Dokkan gauge as much as we can. See, we'll even, for Glorio, not select same type orbs. Let's just do these. Okay. There we go. But yeah, because obviously that's going to make a huge difference for our performance at the end. Being able to launch a pretty strong super. Because obviously we're going to give it to either of the Super Saiyan 4 Gogetas, and they're going to be hitting really hard. It's going to be really easy to get them the Dokkan attack too, because with the Tech Caulifla slot 1, they're definitely not going to get enough ki to super, and then we'll just auto get the Dokkan attack in slot 2, right? So that will be pretty neat if we're able to make it happen. Hopefully we can. It's looking a little bit nerve-wracking though, being able to do that, just because... Okay, well, let's see. We do have 2 turns of Glorio, right? this turn and the next, so maybe we can get pretty lucky with the Glorio procs here and see some big damage from them. Obviously, if he does like 5 supers in a row, he's going to be upwards of like a 30 million attack stat, so then he'll actually be doing some real damage. Let's see. Okay, we're up to 20 mil now. That's definitely helping. But it's just, it doesn't feel like quite enough yet. They still have a lot of HP left. I'm worried that we're going to have to use the Dokkan attack on this phase, which I really don't want to. It would be much more ideal if not. That honestly kind of makes me feel like it was a really good idea for us to counter that super attack to do the extra damage, and we might even do the same here. Yeah, especially seeing, okay, because we saw how much damage he took, which was nothing on that last phase. Oh, wait, but he doesn't have the DR anymore. Yeah, no. The only reason we were able to do that is because he had the 77% DR, right? Without it, no way. Not happening. Not happening. Yeah, because the thing is, this unit, how much damage reduction does he have? 60%, right? He's got 50 here. That's it, 50%. Okay, so he was getting crit for like almost nothing, but he has guard and 50% damage reduction. Let's see. They do have guard as well, though, right? They do have guard. They just, yeah, they don't have, it's damage reduction per key sphere obtained. Rainbow key sphere, that is. Oh, yeah, so last turn that was literally 100%. Yeah, HP is not 50% or less, so he's not going to be getting that damage reduction there. Yeah, that's really, really bad. If our HP was below 50%, we could put him there because of that extra damage reduction, but yeah, it's not going to work out. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to milk that extra damage that we could this turn. We're just going to have to play it safe here. Not the biggest deal, but again, like I said, I'm pretty sure that means that the Dokkan attack is a sayonara situation. Let's see, how do I want the orbs? Let's do this. Yeah, that way we still have the reds available for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. That'll be nice. Maybe we can get one more turn. If we make sure not to select any same type orbs on the next turn, I'm pretty sure we can milk one more turn out of it. And actually, with that considered, I think it is realistically possible that we could fully KO the phase. Again, depending how Glorio does for us here, how much, you know, extra damage he's willing to do. And there is some RNG within the super attack procs of the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, right? He does have a couple of separate chances to proc additional damage on his super attack effect. So we're going to want all of those to proc for sure, just so that we're doing the most amount of damage we can next turn. But worst case scenario, if we do arrive on the turn where we're going to be forced to use the Dokkan attack because the gauge is too full, and we're still on this phase of battle, then I think what we'll opt to do at that point is just use an active skill to try and take out the rest of the HP. I think that's going to be more than worth for us to do if we have the opportunity. Okay, HP is looking pretty low at the moment, but again, we are still going to try and go about not selecting same type orbs. So with that being considered, let's do this. And perfect, we can get that. Okay, awesome. And we could select same type orbs here. In fact, we probably should. He's at 600k. That's going to give him enough to do like a little bit of healing. Yeah, there we go. We held out. And, oh, we're at 49%. So even if we take nothing for the rest of the turn, that means that we're going to be below 50%, which is exactly where we want to be at for the physical Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, right? So that's actually really, really good news. Okay, let's see how we do. I'm pretty sure the enemy is going to survive here. I'm pretty sure the KAULIFLA is going to survive. Yeah, with only doing 1 bar on the 18 key, it's just not going to be enough. We would need like 2 more additional supers from him. Even, okay, so this crits here, he's going to be down to a little over 1 bar, but the UI Goku's not doing that much damage, yeah. And there's no counters to be had. No super attacks. Yeah, he's just not doing nearly enough damage. Man, okay, that is a little bit unfortunate. We are going to have to waste a... So, okay, so kind of the situation we're dealing with now is that we're going to have to either waste the Dokkan attack, or we're going to have to waste an active skill. Actually, I wonder if... Okay. So this is a consideration to be made. That obviously, we know that this active skill will end the phase, for sure. But this is also a huge active skill that I kind of want to be able to use on the final phase of the fight. So it feels a little bad to use it here, right? Now, the other thing is we do have this active skill. This active skill does not do nearly as much damage, so I'm pretty confident that this active skill will not finish off the phase. But if we do this active skill, what it's going to do is it's going to nullify the first attack on the turn, which is not the super attack. The super attack is the second one. So, if we use Glorio's active skill, we'll attack disable the normal in slot 1, so then Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta only has to deal with the super, which he can counter. And if he counters it, that might KO. And then if the KO goes through, we might not have to waste the Dokkan attack. You see the strat I'm going for here? In fact, oh, I just realized. We should definitely do that, because we can go like this and then just depend on the additionals for him. Ooh, I like this a lot. Okay. So let's go ahead and we'll do the Glorio active. As much damage in here as possible. A little bit of extra help. There we go. And then the attack disable is nice. Okay, and then as planned, we can just go with the one orb here. There we go. So that even if the counter attack doesn't finish it off, then any additional, attacks he would do after that could finish it off. And we did need to have 2 extra bars there, because when we select the orbs with Glorio, we're going to get 1 extra key. So that's perfect. That's still going to allow us to be below that Dokkan attack mark. And then now, the only guarantee that we need is we have to KO the phase before Glorio starts attacking. Which essentially means by the time that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is done. Okay, so we do get the counter here. Perfect. We proc that. Good stuff. Okay, and then, additional. It's only 9 million. Obviously, they do get those, little builds up per turn with the key that they select. Had I gotten him an 18 key and stuff, he'd do more. Additional. Oh, gosh. It's going to be close. It looks like we might still, unfortunately, waste the Dokkan attack here. But we kind of did everything in our power not to, right? One more? Oh, that sucks so bad. Wow. It was right there. And obviously, there was nothing, absolutely nothing that we could have done to... miss out on using this for, Glorio. There would have been 0 option for us to, skip using it, because even with 1 key sphere selected, he would have filled up his own key with his passive skill ability, so... yeah, we had just no further way to delay that damage. That's really unfortunate. Man, maybe if we had been able to foresee the damage being this low, we could have used, the AGLUI Goku active or something earlier, and then that would have put us right at that level we needed to be at. Oh, that's so annoying. That was really unfortunate. But yeah, that was ultimately the biggest fight we could have gone for. Again, the only other option we could have done there was to save the Dokkan attack. We could have used the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta active skill. I just don't know that that would have been more worth it. I think that active skill is actually going to be more worth. Maybe, honestly, probably not. Probably not. I think it would have been more worth to have the Dokkan attack here instead. But it's fine. You live and learn. We can't really do anything about it now. Okay. So, let's pull this back up. One other thing we need to keep track of, aside from the scripted super attacks here, is this. We've got some stats that are going to be building up. Okay, AGL KAULIFLA has a damage threshold here, and then Kale does the crits, and they both are going to have increasing attack stats over the turns. Okay. Okay, good to know, good to know. And then we'll just kind of keep in mind when these attacks are going to be here. I think I'm going to leave this on screen, just so that we can have some fresh reminders about the super attack placements and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, we know that this Kale is not attacking turn 1. The placement of the attacks is really scary, too. Interesting, interesting. I mean, I guess this turn it isn't, right? But it just in general, the fact that, like, we were talking about the fact that you're mainly going to have like slot 3 supers, but look at all of her attacks are in slot 1. So these could potentially be 2 slot 0 supers if this same pattern continues on future turns, right? Okay, so it doesn't matter who we attack with KAULIFLA because obviously she's not really doing anything for us here. No time like the present, we might as well attack. We might as well use our... Or actually, should we wait a turn? Let's wait 1 turn to use our actives because... Oh, no, it's just with turns passed. Okay, so they don't get any stronger with us hitting them. So then, yeah, let's go ahead and launch out the super right away. And I think the active skill right away. I think the name of the game here is going to be to try to get rid of Kale as quickly as possible, just because she has the guaranteed crits. That's the really, really scary thing that I don't want to face off against. I'm a little less worried about the KAULIFLA. She's also doing less super attacks per turn. So, yeah. And the fact that Kale is greatly raising attack on super attack here means that her attack stat is basically the same anyway, right? So that's not super problematic here. I think that the Kale is definitely more threatening than KAULIFLA here. So, yeah, we'll take care of her. We're basically just going to fully focus on her the entire fight. For now, I think I'm going to hang on to this Glorio active in case it becomes a relevant thing to use later. But right now, it's not going to matter because if we, basically it's only going to attack disable. It's not here for damage. It's not going to do much damage as we saw in the last phase. But it's here for the attack disable. And right now, the only attacks that it can disable are both attacking slot 1, which is guaranteed to dodge anyway. So it literally doesn't matter. We'll just wait for a future turn where it might be, useful. Like if the first attack that AGL KAULIFLA is doing is in slot 2 or something, then we could use it and it would actually be relevant to, help us tank a little bit. But here that's not going to matter. Okay, so we'll grab that orb. And then we'll get all of these. Perfect. And then we can just grab this one EBD boy in the corner. Actually, I'm going to grab the red one instead. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so I think on the third turn, that's when things are going to start to be the scariest. Turn 1's not going to be so bad. Turn 2 is going to be like a little bit worse because again, they will get those 30%, the additional 30% stat buildup. But then on turn 3, that's when it gets really scary because not only are they getting the additional 30 from this normal buildup right here, but then they get the flat buff right there. And Kale, and Kale especially, getting the 100% buff there, that is quite gnarly. That's really, really scary to see, right? So hopefully by turn 3 we can have this thing taken care of. At least Kale specifically. I highly doubt that we're gonna finish the whole fight by then. Maybe if we had gotten the Dokkan attack on this phase, then maybe turn 3 would be realistic. But yeah, I highly doubt it because of that. Let's see. This team is doing really well. I think, like, I could use the Whis. We might run into a situation here in a moment where it would feel comfy, too. Because obviously we know the tech KAULIFLAs are guaranteed to dodge, but Glorio's not. Like, he has a very good chance to dodge, and so does AGL UI Goku. But at this point in the fight, with how hard these enemies are hitting, if Glorio or AGL UI slip up, which is basically slot 3 every single turn from this point forward, if we get a slip up, it's over. Literally right on cue. Literally right on cue. Yeah. So, just as we knew could happen, and yeah, we just needed that was the one thing we needed not to happen. But that obviously would have been the enticing part about using the Whis there, is because that would have saved us, right? We would have had to use a double Whis, and in fact, I don't even know. He took 3 million damage, so with 80% damage reduction, would that have been enough? Is there any damage reduction at all in his kit? I don't think there is. It's all stats. Yeah, he doesn't have any damage reduction, so even with 80%, I think he still would have been KO'd right there. Just because, remember, we don't have a full HP bar that we're working with. It's only like 400k. So yeah, honestly, I don't know that the Whis even really would help us at that point. We kind of just need to survive it. So yeah, in fact, because of figuring that out, we're just gonna go ahead and not bring him. How about that? And then we can, yeah, we could, I mean, we're just gonna run it back, hope for the best. We'll do what we can. So yeah, I'm not gonna run the whole thing on camera again. I'm just gonna go ahead and jump forward. So I will continue to run the stage. I will try and get back to that final phase, and then when we get there, I will just restart the recording, and we'll show off the W. So I will meet you guys in the final phase of the fight. Alright guys, so we are finally about to get back there. If my voice sounds different, it's because I'm 7 years older than when you saw the first part of this video. Holy moly, that was such a journey. So the exact same thing that I explained to you guys that had happened on my previous attempts with the Universe 6 team, same thing happened here. I went for a run back, and now I have been playing this stage for a solid almost 2 hours, and I'm on my very last attempt because Glorio has repeatedly been getting hit by supers, or just hit by normals and getting one shot. So that I've just been getting unluckier and unluckier and dying like sooner and sooner in the stage. But now we are finally about to get back to stage 3, and we had the absolute worst possible starting rotations that we ever could have, meaning that the LR Super Saiyan 4s didn't even show up until turn 3 because they were in slot 7, so they have had the least amount of stacks that they've been able to do. This means that it took us a dumb long time to get through the first couple of phases here, so now we are again dealing with the problem where we are forced to use an active skill in order to not accidentally waste the Dokkan attack early. So yeah, this is a little bit fudged at the moment. There's no way to avoid getting the Dokkan attack, because as you can see, both Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Glorio are 2 key away, meaning when we select even 1 key sphere with them, the Glorio active skill is going to, or the Glorio passive skill is going to add the extra key. So it's impossible to avoid super attacks with them, so we can't use the same strat that we did last time. Even though the strat didn't even work last time, right? So what we're going to attempt to do here is, first, we will use the Glorio active. If the Glorio active is enough to finish off the phase, awesome. If it's not, what we're going to go ahead and do is reset the rotation. We'll reset the app to get the active skill back, and then we'll use the AGL Gogeta one instead. Because I think the Dokkan attack is going to be much more worthwhile to have on that final phase than the one of these active skills, right? So let's go ahead and try this. Oh, wait, just in case, let's do this. That way Glorio has links, but also in case we do KO, then Glorio's still slot 3, because that's definitely what we want to see, right? Okay, let's see. If we don't have enough attack power here to KO, that's going to be really unfortunate. Yeah, just not quite enough, and we did even get a crit there. Okay, so let's go ahead and app reset, and we'll use the Gogeta one instead. Okay, surely, this is a little bit of a waste, right? But surely this Gogeta active is going to kill here. Obviously a massive overkill that we're going to get there. That could have been a lot of damage towards the STR KALE. Unfortunately, not able to take advantage of that, but we do have the added bonus of getting the Dokkan attack that we're going to be able to proc here on this phase now, right? Which is really, really helpful for us. Okay, so we're not really in any danger of taking any attacks this time. Actually, we have the AGL KAULIFLA that's going to be launching a super right here in the middle slot. This is also a really strong turn for Gogeta. As you notice, we are just now transforming him. That's another piece that I didn't mention. Starting from the secondary run all the way until now, which is the 6th run for the day, I did figure out that I don't need to transform Gogeta on that 3rd phase, or on that 2nd phase. We can wait all the way until here. He is able to double-digit tank those normal attacks, even through the critical hit guarantee, right? So luckily for us, we've got a pretty strong Gogeta now, and because he is fully built up, this is, well, I guess there is no fully built because he infinitely stacks, right? Because he is much more built than, like, the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta on the opposite side that's max power at the beginning. It works out well that we're going to get the Dokkan attack here with him, right? Okay, so This actually works really, really well. Yeah, so we've got... Is it just the one super? It is. Okay. Okay, so we just need to make sure that we're going to be able to select enough same type orbs to get the Dokkan attack to proc. Because I don't want to accidentally not get that. Oh, the other thing is... Should we use the active skill right now? We could use the active skill to do a little bit of extra damage, right? And then it would give us guaranteed crits and make sure that the Dokkan attack is a guaranteed crit. The only thing that this is going to hurt is the fact that his, yeah, this massively raises his attack for 4 turns. So once we do the Ultra Super, he's going to be stronger on the next turn, which means doing the active skill on the next turn would be even better. But because I do want to guarantee that we critical hit during that Dokkan attack, we're going to go ahead and just use it right now. Yeah, and again, we want to focus everything on Kale. We got to get her KO'd as quickly as possible. Okay, yeah, that is looking nice and saucy. Definitely great to see. And I think that even did more damage than the AGL Gogeta one did last time, so that is pretty worthwhile, it's seeming like. Okay, we'll grab these for KAULIFLA. And then now we can start loading up on some same type orbs. That's definitely not going to be an issue. At this point, we have had to actively avoid them. As you can see, it's turn 13, and we're just now getting to the final phase. So yeah, that we have had to try very, very hard to avoid same type orbs, basically the entire fight so far. So that's really good. And again, no time like the present. Might as well use the active skills while we got them. Just get this Kale out of here as quickly as possible. Obviously, this would be a hindrance for those fights where, like, the enemy is building up stats per hit received, but this is not one of those fights, so, yeah, we're gonna be big chillin' here. Okay, cool. So we basically got guaranteed crits for the entire turn, the Dokkan attack, and then we're not gonna need it, but we do also have the revive up, so I guess that's another thing worth mentioning. I suppose the only reason we would need it is if we don't get the 70% chance to proc for the counter, right? But because we did just transform Gogeta this turn, he does have the 77 damage reduction. So that certainly could be helpful. Oops, missed a node there. Shouldn't be too big a deal. We're still going to do massive amounts of damage here. I'm really curious to see if they're both going to be like below 50%? Question mark? Would it be nice? If they're both below 50% HP after this Dokkan attack launches, that'll make me feel really good about our chances here. Not even close. Wow. Wowzer, wowzer, wowzer. Okay, yeah, they just have so much more HP than we're, like, expectant to deal with here, right? That's pretty tough. Okay. Well, I suppose that's not the biggest deal. We did fail the proc. We did fail it. Wow. Okay, so yeah, lucky we had the 77%, because that could have been really, really bad for us, right? Obviously, starting next turn, that is no longer going to be an option. This was our last turn of having the big damage reduction. So everything from this point forward, if we're going to win the fight here, literally from this moment onward, 100% of stuff is we either have to dodge and counter, or we will be KO'd. That's it. I think it's just the physical Super Saiyan 4s and the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta potentially can get hit by a couple normals. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to look for them, but anyone else cannot get hit by a single normal attack. They have to dodge, and then even them two, they have to counter the super attacks, or we will lose. Okay. Okay, so we don't have a scouter here. But again, these super attacks are scripted, right? So we know that the AGL KAULIFLA one is going to be, here, let's switch back to this view. So we know the AGL KAULIFLA one is going to be at the end of turn 1 and then at the end of turn 3. So this being turn 2 here, KAULIFLA is just going to launch all normals. Okay. Yeah, her normals are actually considerably lower in damage than her super. She is getting these procs to build up, right? So, we should be okay with Gogeta here. He's got enough damage reduction and stuff. We should be alright, on this turn for him to tank those normals. So that's not gonna be a problem. Also keep track that he can counter the KAULIFLA supers because she's got the Ki Blast there, whereas Kale is the one that's the problem. So I think we're looking okay on this rotation. We just have to dodge everything, and then we can get hit by those normals in the middle slot, and we should be fine, right? Perfect. But we do know for a fact that that last slot is going to be a super attack. So that's really all it comes down to here, right? Because obviously KAULIFLA has the guaranteed dodges. So it really is just going to come down to we need Glorio to dodge that. We 100% need Glorio to dodge that, or we will be KO'd. Does his... Well, let's see. Here's the only thing I'm thinking. He does get 10% dodge within the turn for each attack performed. He's guaranteed to do 3, though. Because I was going to say the active skill will add 10% to that if we do use the active skill. But I think it's still wise for us to wait on the active skill as we were preparing to, you know, in the prior run. I think it still makes sense to go that route. Okay. You can't get 24 key anyway. Okay. 20 or 23 key is going to have to do it then. Okay, and then, let's see. I think I'm just going to grab these int orbs so we can leave some physicals on the board for next turn and then see what the rainbow orb change ends up looking like. Okay, I was going to say, there should be a super attack here, if we're keeping track of things properly. Okay, so there's the one, and then we've just got 2 normals coming up. I'm kind of scared that there might become a point where AGO Gogeta is no longer tanking the normals here. That could be problematic if that does happen. Obviously, that's more likely to happen with Kale, just because of the crits. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that in general, just because there is these buffs that, you know, are continuously adding up. Yeah, already we're not even at that point. Oh my goodness. Of him being able to double-digit tank, and they're not even fully... This is only turn 2. They're both going to get fat buffs starting on turn 3. So we really, really got to get Kale out of here at least. And then I'm hoping what it might look like is if, you know, he has to face off against some of KAULIFLA's attacks on his next rotation, that at least one of the attacks will be the super, and then he can counter it, because that will equate to him taking 0 damage, right? Obviously, it'll be nice, because then we'll be able to get the benefit of dishing out a little bit more damage, but in this case, more importantly, is that he won't take any damage from receiving the hit, right? But yeah, it's looking like maybe on the next turn, he's still going to be able to tank well enough to, you know, take like 100k or something. Maybe it's going to be up to like 200k. I honestly am not too sure. Oh gosh, okay. Yeah, yikes. This is another really scary turn here, isn't it? Wow. So yeah, it all comes down to Glorio again. Because, with those crits, with those guaranteed crits in there, I don't think we can put him slot 1. I think pre-super, he's going to be a little bit fragile to some of those crit numbers. Let's see. I mean, 1 mil... But then this is turn 3, so it's already 3 mil. Plus the 3 stacks here, another 90%. This is 4 mil. And he's got 3.7 mil. But it's also guaranteed crits. So it eats through all of his defense. So none of that matters. It's literally just about the damage reduction, which he doesn't have any of. He only has guard. So it cuts it down to like 2 mil, but then it's still no damage reduction on top of 2 mil. He would be flattened. So yeah, that's like not a choice. You know, if I were to consider basically not putting KAULIFLA there so that she can guarantee dodge at the end, I don't think we have that option. And then obviously it hurts us to not float Glorio, because then we'd have 2 Glorios on the next rotation. Definitely don't want to do that. So yeah, we don't have any choices. This is what we have to do to survive the rotation, because I did take that Whis off, right? So we can't rely on that here. And even so, as we said, if I did double Whis right here, Glorio's still gonna get 1 shot if he gets hit with the super. So it literally is just up to Glorio. He 100% has to dodge here, or we're done. That's it. Those are our only options. We gotta dodge. And it's 3 super attacks, dude. I'm just thinking that the possibility of doing this, because we would launch a bunch of extra damage. Yeah, there's only super attacks in that slot, so he won't have to worry about getting hit by the normal. I kind of like this idea. Obviously, the biggest hindrance is that once we get to, you know, turn 16, we'll do our thing, and then turn 17, we're going to have 2 Glorios on rotation and a Caulifla. So it'd be slot 1 Caulifla and then slot 2 and 3 Glorios. I suppose we could do it. It could work. It's just, you know, we're going to obviously take a hit to the amount of damage that we're doing. Let's think about this carefully, because it's turn 3 right now, so we have one of the attacks from Caulifla. Turn 4, which is the very next turn, we'll have another super attack from Caulifla, and then turn 5 would be just normals again. So when we have the okay, I like this. I like this. Because what's going to happen is on turn 5 of this phase, we're going to have Caulifla slot, or we're going to have our Tech Caulifla slot 1, then we're going to have the 2 Glorios, and it's going to be all normal attacks. And hopefully by then, between this turn, the extra counterattack damage we'll get in slot 3 here, and then all the damage we do on the next turn, hopefully we can just KO the Kale. So then on that kind of iffy turn where we don't really have much, we will just be facing against normal attacks from Caulifla, and we'll be much safer, question mark. Even though, I mean, I do say normals versus supers, it really doesn't make a difference, because again, if Glorio gets hit by a single one of these, he's toast, right? Unless maybe it's at the very end of the turn, and he did like 7 supers in a row, then maybe he'll have enough to tank. Still probably going to take damage, but might not get KO'd. So yeah, I think I'm actually gonna do this strat right here. It seems crazy, and you know, again, a couple of things. If we fail any of the 70% chances to counter, we will die. And if Glorio fails to dodge that attack in the middle, we will die. Guaranteed. Like, we have no shot here. But either way we swing it, it's gonna be like 70%. I suppose this would give us 10% more, because it's gonna be 80% chance to dodge. But I think I like this just in the... This works well. It's compatible because we're floating a main attacker, but we're also doing way more damage on the rotation to make sure we won't need him later, right? So I think this could be okay. The only reason it's... Well, no, I was going to say the only reason it would be scary is because we're not going to have the Scouter anymore. But these are scripted super attacks. We know exactly where they're going to be anyway. So yeah, we're chilling. All right, let's run it. enough gabbing. Let's do this thing. Let's see if we can... Let's see if we can make this happen. I hope that I've considered everything and that I'm not doing some massive misplay right now that people are just screaming at me not to do. Obviously, this does seem just kind of precarious and, in a sense, to do in general, but I don't know. It seems like a solid play for right here. I think it's going to be worthwhile, because just with especially us being post super attack, these counters that we do right now are going to do so much damage, which is huge for us, right? Yeah, so just the fact that we're going to do all this extra damage, I feel like really is worthwhile. Because, again, getting Kale out of here as quickly as we possibly can is super, super worth at the moment. Okay, that's 1 dodge down, so now we just need to see 3 counterattack procs. Back to back to back. We gotta see all 3 proc back to back to back, and we'll be safe here. I suppose if one were going to hit us, it would be the Caulifla one. That would be the one we have the biggest chance to survive, because it's not a crit, at least. So it's not going to eat through our defense, right? So maybe we'll be okay if we get hit by the Caulifla one, but both of the Kale ones, 100%, we have to counter those. If we do not, then it's over. And we're going to have to come back in another day. Okay, so we didn't counter the Caulifla one. Again, this happened to us last time. Let's see if we survive it. Okay, so we took some damage, but we did survive that. Okay, neat. What was... Oh, we had the attack disable as well. I kind of forgot about that. Wait, that was weird. Oh, because Kale. I forgot. Okay, so we accidentally made a really good decision there. I forgot that we had the attack disable on the 18 key with him, so the fact that we were targeting Kale meant that the first of her attacks there was going to be disabled, so we only had to deal with countering 1 of her super attacks, which is nice. Okay, so yeah, things are still looking pretty solid for us here, for a couple of reasons, right? Okay, so we know there's going to be 1 super attack from AGL Caulifla here. And then there's going to be 2 super attacks from STR Kale there. Oh wait, actually it should only be 1. There's only 3 attacks coming from Kale. So I think it's just going to be 1 super attack. Regardless, Kale is going to be KO'd by the time we get to her, so we're fine. The only risk we run here is if we don't counter against KAULIFLA, we'll be KO'd. But we have UI Goku's revive up, so the KO here is actually fine if it happens. So yeah, we're actually sitting in a very good position at the moment. Okay, so let's again continue to target everything on KALE here. Perfect. I kind of want to save all these physical orbs for next turn, just because we've got both the Glorios there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's see how we do. Let's see how we do. And again, getting that counterattack on the KAULIFLA could be really, really big news. It is a Ki Blast Super here. So here, let's go ahead and get rid of the web view for the last little bit here, since we're pretty much past all of the, you know, ability portions. They're basically fully built up at this point. They're still getting a little bit more attack power added on for the next, you know, this turn, and then at the next turn they're going to be fully maxed out. So yeah, the only thing to keep track of is those super attacks, but we've got that down at this point, so we're fine. Okay. So yeah, here's hoping that we do get the counter. Yeah, nice, we did get it. Just for the extra damage is nice, right? That's the main reason we want it. Because obviously, again, with the free revive, nothing really changes. We could have just moved on to the next rotation just fine, but we get that damage, and then now we also get the UI Goku attacks, because, you know, we didn't just get KO'd and move on to the next phase. So that's really good. Really, really good stuff. And then that was her turn 4 super, so now we know on the next turn, it should just be 4 normal attacks from KAULIFLA. Oh, I guess I forgot about the damage threshold, so UI Goku wasn't going to be doing any damage there anyway. Whoops. Well, not a huge deal. Oh. Interesting. Okay. So we've got 3 attacks here. How do we gamify this? I feel we can. We can do this. Okay, so there is one... Hold on. Okay, yeah, these are all normal attacks. These are all normal attacks. We're gonna have to dodge one. We have both Glorio active skills that we can use, but the problem is, in order to be able to count, like, it's going to disable the first attack in order, right? So if we use both of them, this is how we would make sure that we 100% don't take any damage on the turn. But I do not like this idea, because then that means we have to KO next turn, or when we come back here, we don't have a slot 1. And if there's a slot 0 attack, we're toast, right? We cannot let that happen. Well, actually, we would have a slot 0, because we have UI Goku. He could easily go slot 0. Or slot 1, and protect against slot 0. But then it's still a shaky turn, because we have 2 Glorios that have to be run slot 2, 3. Eesh, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I think this is a better idea. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use one of the Glorio actives here in the first slot. This makes us 50% more likely to survive the turn. So there we go. Obviously not concerned about the damage or anything, but now that first attack is going to be nullified, so we do not have to worry about what Glorio may or may not take here. I do want to try to save those physical orbs. I'll save the ones on the right for next turn, just so we can get a fat heal going. That would be really good. Okay. Wow, why is his stats are so high? Oh my goodness. Okay. And then... yeah, we'll just do this with Tech KAULIFLA. Okay, so then obviously we're guaranteed to dodge that second one, and then again, the only thing we could do is nullify that second attack there, so we're just gonna have to take it on the face with Glorio here. So we only have to dodge one attack here, and then we're gonna be perfectly fine. Hindsight being 2020 now, with the difference in their defense numbers, maybe I should have put this Glorio in slot 3. Because he would have a much higher chance to actually tank the normal if he doesn't end up dodging it, right? Whereas our Glorio is in a much worse off position to be able to do something like that. So yeah, in hindsight, that was actually a bad decision for us to have them flopped the way they are. But I'm sure it's going to work out. It's literally one dodge. It's only one dodge. We've done so many over the past 17 turns. what's one more, right? Especially considering if we do get this one dodge right here, I'm pretty sure this is going to secure the win. Because on the next rotation, we've got a Tech KAULIFLA for slot 1, and then we have both of our GT Giants that are ready to go, and they're going to be linked up together. So we're going to have like 7 out of 7 links. They are about to do so much damage on the next rotation here. That is going to be huge for us. So it's possible that we could just be good to go. All right. Not quite Moment of Truth yet. Glorio is still going in, providing a good bit of damage here. Let's see if he can peek through that damage threshold. Not quite. Okay, well, he did get the dodge. That's the main thing we need. All right, and then with the Scouter back up, we can see exactly where that super attack is at. For multiple reasons. One, because the physical Super Saiyan 4s can counter any super attacks. Well, there's only one unit left. It doesn't matter. They hit harder and they have higher defense. So we're gonna we're gonna leave them on rotation, right? Definitely. But for this moment specifically, we can afford to put the AGL Super Saiyan 4 in slot 3 because he's got the same exact percentage chance to counter that attack as the physical Super Saiyan 4s do, right? Now again, the difference is if the physical Super Saiyan 4s go there, they could probably get hit by it and actually live. But I want them here. I do want them here. Well, we've used active skills from... No. I want them here. I want them here. This is better. Because the thing is the normals. We talked about this earlier, that with those 2 normals, I don't think he can actually tank those at this point. I think that with her fully built up at this point, remember, it was only on turn 2. So she had only had 60% stats, and she did not yet have that extra 50% buff either. Now she's at 150% stats, so she was at 60, and now she's at 200. And he was taking 5 digits with her at 60% boost, and now she's at, right, 200%. So I don't think it's safe to put him in front of normals anymore. I think the only way we live this turn, actually, is if we have him counter the super. So, scary stuff, but this is all we've got to work with, so we're gonna do it. Okay, we'll take this orb, and then we can grab all of these. That should be good, and that'll give us 100% HP again, which is really, really helpful for the moment. And then we can grab all these to get another 24 key super, maximize that damage. Alright, let's see how this is looking. So we've been used to the attack stats that we're seeing from them, yeah, I was gonna say, without being linked to the entire fight. But now that they are linked up together here, they're looking quite good. This is pretty massive. Okay, awesome. And actually, you know, another funny thing, the only reason that it would have been a wise idea to put this guy in the final slot is because then he could do the counterattack, which would provide more damage. I, again, almost forgot about the fact that he is going to attack disable the very first attack he comes across, which means he would not even get to counter it, because he would just straight up attack disable it, right? So, I think this was the right idea overall. Because, again, this guy was not going to survive in slot 2 against those normals, so even if he fails the proc and we lose right here, it's not like we made a blunder. This is literally the only option to survive the turn. We had to do these 3 in the way that we did them. And he didn't counter it. Why is that happening to me so much? Okay, well, I had one backup contingency, because here's the thing. Here is the thing. As fun as this is, and, you know, ultimately at some point, I'm gonna have to finish this. That was the last run for the day. So this is now 2 days straight of running this event 6 times and getting unlucky with the dodge character and getting destroyed. I do not know. I have not bothered to watch any other YouTubers' content to mooch any ideas. I do not know how else we're supposed to win this phase with these super attacks the way that they are without a dodge team. This Kale, especially, with how ridiculously high her attack stats get with this stuff and the guaranteed crits, there's just like no units that are going to be surviving this. I'm using a lot of the best units for damage reduction. I've already attempted to use Tech Giant Ape Vegeta in here. His restrictions needing to be in slot 1 doesn't help with the stuff of the slot 3 supers and stuff like that. Like, same thing with like AGL Full Power Frieza, I would be worried about for the same reasons. Like, it's just, I don't know, I don't know what team we're supposed to use to try and beat this. And obviously, like, both teams that I've showcased in here so far, well, obviously I haven't showed off the Universe 6 team, but you guys will be seeing this footage, can absolutely do this. We know for a fact they can do this. We just need to get a little bit luckier with the procs here in order to see these things happening, right? So, very unfortunate, but here's the thing. With the update that is on the way, I need to finish my link leveling journey. I need to finish these characters. I currently have like 30 left in my box. Let's see, character list, link level. Yeah, there are 30 characters left for me to link level. I absolutely need to get these done. So I cannot spend all this excess time grinding these challenge events the way that I have been. I've already put up, like, pre-grinded enough videos and stuff to be able to have videos posted through the time when that update is going to go through. You know, for the most part, it's maybe like a week short at this point as far as the amount of videos I have, but there's other like information videos I can make where I can just link level while I'm doing something on a wiki or whatever, right? So I've got all that dialed. I don't really need this video to be completed for, you know, me to have it done, but like, it's just taking way too much time out of my Dokkan grinding time each day, and like I need to finish link leveling. So what we're gonna do here, instead of me waiting another day to record this, me showcasing this same exact stage again and again, we're gonna do this. Okay, we are over here on the JP account. We have got stage 5 of the Pure Saiyans Red Zone, and this is our cleared team. Now, granted, obviously it just auto-populates a friend lead that we wouldn't want in this case. And that's another thing, is that Glorios are kind of impossible to find on the friends list. That was a huge struggle. I forgot to mention that part, in fact. After, when I lost earlier and I went in to run the stage back, there was no Glorios on my friend, on like the friends list. So I literally had to go into my Discord and ping everyone and be like, please set some Glorio leads, and luckily I had a couple of people that were able to respond and get me some Glorios to use, but yeah, there's just like no Glorios, so that's another thing that makes this a pain in the ass. And as you just saw right now, even if I wanted to run this on JP to show you guys, I can't, because there's no Glorios. And I don't have connections to JP account players that I could just get people on my friends list. I don't have connections that way with JP, so yeah, it's kind of screwed either way. So but this is just me showing off the fact that it can be done. I did clear this event with this team on JP. So this, I'm posting it. This is the video for stage 5. This is it. It's happening. In fact, now that I think about it, I wonder if it would be funny or cheeky or smart for me to throw the Universe 6 team setup at the beginning and then move on to... That would make quite a long video for then there to be no clear at the very end of it. Maybe I won't do that. But I did already explain about the Universe 6 build, so I think it's fine. So yeah, basically, we're just going to treat this as the end of the video here, and act as if we got the clear, because I have cleared it with this exact team, and we almost did it twice. You've seen what it looks like, you get the strat, you see the mission towards success, and then again, obviously, had I brought items, if I had brought like a Ghost Usher or something, we would have already gotten the clear, because... you know, those little unfortunate situations where we had to gamble super hard, we wouldn't have had to, never would have had to shake up our rotations that way and take those extra risks, we would have been done already. So, definitely possible to clear, especially if you opt to use items. So, there we go. That's going to go ahead and wrap it up for the Pure Saiyan Red Zone Pure Saiyan Edition Stage 5. Technically, all missions cleared, even though the only mission is just to clear the stage. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. All those shenanigans. Let me know what you think of my team build. Please rate that in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for joining me. That's going to do it for this one, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace!